Well, good afternoon from the Hemlock Little World's Fairgrounds. Long after the fair is over, by the way. It ended, Saturday, July 24th. 1:30 in the afternoon on this Tuesday, July 27th. And my name's Bob Scott. Normally Mark Shiro or Kelly Young from the New York State Agriculture Department's Horse Breeders Development Fund would be hosting the show. But due to the reason we're at Hemlock, first of all, I should explain. What you're going to be seeing over the next hour or two, pending there's no lightning, is the Ontario County Fair out of Canandaigua, New York's races. As of about 7 o'clock last night, the races were moved to the Hemlock Fairgrounds. The people at the Hemlock Fair worked overnight to get their track back in condition. A week ago, we were here, as you may be aware, for those of you that watch races on the Fair Racing Network or through other websites that are part of the Agriculture Department, especially the Horse Breeders Development Fund website, and a couple of radio stations, a couple newspapers. Hemlockfair.org also, I believe, is carrying the races a day. But for those of you who have joined us on the Fair Racing Network, and by golly, according to the screen, I think we have a couple viewers. This was last minute. We were not scheduled to do the races out of Canandaigua, but when we found out they were down here in Hemlock, we decided to do it and go live this afternoon because there was Ethernet connection. We have a tower that our top camera guy, Caleb Santiago, can work from. We usually use a lift that goes way up in the air, but because of the threatening weather for about the next 15-20 minutes, we're probably not going to use the lift. Mark Shiro, your normal host for the races, will be joining us here in a little bit. He's on his way into the track. And as you can hear in the background, and probably see in the background too, there's horses getting warmed up on the track. I believe we have 8 heats today. So again, it's the Ontario County Fair Canandaigua, New York races, but they're being staged at Hemlock, New York. Let's go through some of the details here for you. And by the way, I should right up front explain. I'm new to the horse racing industry. Yes, we've done races from Goshen and other places over the last couple of years. And in fact, Hemlock Fairgrounds was the home of the first races in 2019. And that's the reason why we're reasonably well set up here to be able to do a last-minute broadcast and have all the connections and power and Ethernet cable and everything else you need to be able to video stream a race. But when they decided to move the Canandaigua races to Hemlock last night, and I think the decision was made like maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the evening. It was a really short notice. And they had to bring equipment back from Canandaigua to prep the track here at Hemlock. And here are the conditions. Right now it's raining. The storms seem to be going around the Hemlock Fairgrounds. We're watching the radar. And as long as there isn't lightning, I believe we're going to be able to do a broadcast for you. If we have to sign off because of lightning, obviously we'll just go to a graphic and you can pick up races later on. Canandaigua race officials for today. The judge is Rich Mays. The starter is Terry Mays with Martin starting gates. The race secretary is Patty Bruno. The assistant is Ples Bruno. And the announcer is Wayne Teven. And I believe Wayne is from Buffalo Raceway, where a good friend of ours, Paige Usiak, who will be joining our team no later than Goshen, but will be joining us this year as part of our broadcast crew here on the Fair Racing Network. My experience with racing is very, very limited. So if you wonder why I'm not as knowledgeable about horses, the trainers, the riders, the different things, I'll try to muddle through as best I can until Mark gets here or Kelly Young joins us. Those two are the experts. They know what they're talking about. I just kind of go along for the ride and responsible for making it work and paying the bills. That's my major function with the Fair Racing Network. But every once in a while when we get into a jam and last minute situation, why the guy with a face for radio shows up in front of the camera and on the microphone. The Hemlock Fair facilities are located on Route 15A. If by chance you're free this afternoon and within the region, our friends over in Canandaigua, Ontario County, please feel free to come on over. The grandstands, as you can see behind me, our camera's tilted a little low, but maybe we could go to another camera and take a shot of the grandstands. And our director, Jeff Turriff, is shooting over there. Normally, you're a little low there, Jeff. I'm sure you're aware of that, but I switched the camera anyway. So it's off of me. The people need not be. Well, we got beautiful, beautiful grandstand here. In fact, it's on the National Registry of Historic Places. We're very proud of the Hemlock Fairgrounds. As you will see a little bit later on, especially when we go to our top camera, let's see if we can, there. That's Caleb up in the tower right now, on a porch beside the tower. We decided not to put him up in the lift a little higher than the tower until after the weather passes, because the last thing that we want to have happen is a lightning strike. And I don't know whether Caleb can hear us or not, but you can take the standby off your camera. You are actually live. So there's our grandstands, and this is the finish line camera, which our good friend Jim Vollertson, who works as my associate executive producer. Today, Jeff has gone from being producer to producer switcher. Owen Shepard, our normal director, wasn't able to make it today with last-minute business and one thing and another. So Owens has been very helpful on the phone, helping Jeff get technically set up. The complicity of doing one of these broadcasts is simply amazing. You have cameras, you have audio, and we're working today with 4 cameras and but a cut-down crew. There are no producers with us today, and obviously there's no talent for being on the air. That's the reason why I'm talking at you and doing the broadcast. What you're looking at right now, as I say, the home stretch in front of the grandstands, and there are horses out there warming up and doing their thing. And I got to stop watching my iPad because there's probably about a 12 to 20 second delay, and what is on the air and what I'm seeing doesn't necessarily match. So that's kind of the lineup with where we're at. The post time this afternoon is at 2 o'clock. As I mentioned, we have 8 races today. There are 3 other fairs that are holding races. So the first 2 are going to be solo performers. One horse just basically going around the track. Now you might say, well, okay, what's the purpose of doing something like that? Well, the goal, from what I've been told through the Horse Breeders Development Fund, is that the New York County Fair Sire Stakes races are meant to be a training ground for riders, for horses, for trainers, and this is where you break into professional horse racing. There is no gambling at the fair level, but by the time the horses get trained, we're running 2-year-olds and I believe 3-year-olds fillies and geldings today. And again, please forgive me. You're talking to the bass drummer from a drum and bugle corps here. So my knowledge of horses and racing is very, very limited. Forgive me. You can laugh at me all you want to. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you're watching the broadcast, or even if you're watching this as a delayed broadcast, when we did last week's fair, the Hemlock Fair, a lot of people were kind enough to either email us through our Vimeo video feed, or I'm going to give you my personal email address, business address. Your comments and thoughts, suggestions, anything, or as we go into next year, where we're hoping to do the full season of racing across New York State, we are set up for as many as 20 to 22 races. it would be incredibly helpful if you want sponsorship. And our audience levels, especially when we're down in Goshen at the historic track and our first Hemlock Fair races in 2019 and the Palmyra races, the audience numbers, when we looked at the analytics, were somewhat jaw-dropping. And the cost of a commercial in one of our race shows is, well, if you use the standard industry parameters for buying commercials and audience levels and such like that, we're probably one of the cheapest per thousand buys you're going to get. And we've had as many as 35,000 viewers on a race. So this is a great audience. Obviously, its fan base has to be, as we say, well-suited socially, economically, and in other ways. They travel. So if you're in the tourism business in the Finger Lakes or down into Orange County and Goshen, where the new Legoland is opening up, or like today's races are the Ontario County Canandaigua New York County Fair Sire Stakes races, that's the middle of the Finger Lakes. And I'm here to tell you, Canandaigua has turned into one of the most beautiful resort areas. There's nothing in New England or along the Atlantic coast that can compete with what you will find in Canandaigua, especially with the new restaurant hotel that's down there, which I just completely forgot the name of. That shows you that I'm getting old and my memory isn't there, but it is just written up as one of the top 10 resorts in the world, especially one of the top 10 according to tourism magazines. And I even saw an article out of the London Times talking about it. That's how popular this new place in Canandaigua is. So if you're in the tourism industry or anything that's horse industry related, agriculturally related, because let's face it, these agricultural fairs are what introduce people to where their food comes from. And the agriculture industry, according to everything I read here in New York State, is in need of employees, as most other industries are. And this is a great opportunity to introduce this to the youth and put them in a position so that they might have one heck of a career. I ran into, last week during the Hemlock Little World's Fair, the 4-H runs the greatest breakfast stand here in the universe. And I had breakfast there, and the little lady that waited upon me was 11 years old, absolutely spectacularly gorgeous. I wish I'd have written her name down. At 11 years old, she's going into the 7th grade. I said to her, well, what are you studying in school? She goes, I'm into math and this and that, and listed a whole bunch of things. And I said, well, what's your career goal? She goes, to take over my father's dairy farm, which was somewhere down in the southern tier, mid-southern tier of New York State. It just was a phenomenal conversation and a delightful young lady to speak with. And they're with 4-H. And it was just a delight to speak with her. I was just motioning my guys away from one of the FM mics, which seems to be livelier than it should be because the pot's closed, but we can hear you. And talking about people that way is not nice because you never know who's listening. I mean, really. Jim Vollertson and Jeff Torif are the two that are working with me today. And let's see, I got to look at the time here and see how close we are, because we will be picking up our announcer in just a few minutes for the first heat, and we'll tell you about that as it gets closer. And for some reason, I can't find out what time it is. Oh, it's about 1:45. So our post time is 2 o'clock. I get about 15 minutes to bore the daylights out of you. And God knows I've made a career of that in broadcasting since 1960. That's what happens when you get a face for radio that gets on television and a live video stream like this. So as I say, we've got 8 races today. And again, I apologize if I come off, but I'm learning as I go here. I'm looking at the purses for each of these races. If you win today, and especially if you're in the first 2 races where there's only one horse, it turns into a pretty lucrative 1 mile. I'd run a mile for that. But when you look at what is invested in these animals and in the equipment and the travel and the training and just the maintenance of them and stuff like that, it's like a lot of other passions and activities, be it in the arts with music and theater or marching bands, drum and bugle corps, or in amateur sports, minor league sports at the local level, little league and such like that. It costs an awful lot. Like Jeff, my director over here, your son plays baseball and is part of a touring league.
Yeah.
What's your investment like?
Usually.
Here, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. Why don't I talk with you? Where's my other remote microphone there? Wouldn't you know it? I try to organize myself, and it doesn't work like that. Okay, hang on here. Let's see. Power on, mute off, pot up. Jeff, are you there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's see. Let's make sure I get the right pot.
You getting me? You getting me?
Well, for some reason I don't seem to be, and I don't know why. Chat just a moment there. It's on. Oh, it's on. Go ahead. You can talk now.
Yeah.
So anyway, your son plays in a traveling league, and what's that costing you, Dad?
Your yearly investment to play is between $400 and $500, maybe a little bit more. Then you have tournaments and stuff that you have to you pay for kind of along the way. Hotels with the tournaments. It's quite a bit. It can be quite a bit.
Well, I know in my sport, which is drum and bugle corps, Drum Corps International, when you get up to the big corps like Blue Devils, Phantom Regiments, Blue Coats out of Canton, Ohio, places like that, a marching member may be paying $3,000 to $11,000 to tour for 19 weeks. And anybody that's ever toured with a drum and bugle corps, that has to be the most strenuous 19 weeks you'll ever go through. If you go up on YouTube and type in, say, Phantom Regiment in the early 2000s and see the kinds of shows that they do. They are musical athletes. It's just, it's truly incredible what that is like. And then there's theater. Jim Vollertson is sitting over here to the side, and if he'll grab his microphone, he comes, well, you're the CEO of Rochester for the Association for the Performing Arts. Please make sure I've got the pot down when you do that.
I accidentally tapped the table.
Oh, okay. Jim, what's it like for a student to get involved with RAPA?
Well, we start them very young, hopefully, in the 4 or 5 year olds, and at that point we're teaching them the basics, so the investment is minimal. But as they start to grow up, it's their dedication to the arts and how much time they want to put into it, But we've had out of RAPA, we're very proud, we've had in the last 10 years probably 15 people that have gone on to Broadway.
And by the way, RAPA is the Rochester Association for the Performing Arts.
Correct.
And been around a long time. And you may wonder, well, why are you guys talking about the arts and baseball and stuff like that as you're going into horse racing and such like that? Well, it's simply because, and if you wonder what that was over the camera, Jeff was putting a towel over it. We are still getting a drizzle, and you may hear that tapping on the top of the tents here that we're under. Fortunately, our equipment is staying dry, and more importantly, the power blocks that everything is plugged into are staying dry, because that way the old guy here would have curly hair and be a bigger mess than he already is.
And according to AccuWeather, the rain is going to end in 12 minutes here, so that's just perfect timing to get the first race underway at 2 o'clock.
You're absolutely right, because it's 11 minutes to 2, and it should be just absolutely perfect, and they might not have to run the water truck around again, which would be a good thing, because that water truck, he's never hit us.
It's amazing when we see it coming, but he knows enough just to slow down in time. So we got to keep him on our side. If we ever get him mad at us, we're in trouble.
That's true. baptism by water truck would be a wonderful thing.
It's impressive watching that water truck go by. The way it sprays off the back of it. I mean, you expect just a little, kind of a sprinkler thing. You see other places that they put down water on tracks or on fields or something like that. You get just kind of a narrow band. This thing, the spray coming off the back of this truck covers the entire track as it's going by, and it's something to see.
It really is amazing. I'm going to shut your mic off, Jim, because oh, here we go.
Both sides of the first debate will be 2 o'clock. Only to get there. That's the way to please rise. The German Congress is all 1 point.
Okay, that was our track announcer, and I apologize. For some reason, we're not picking him up as well as I'd like to. I'm not exactly sure why, but
Okay, thank you.
again, Wayne Teven is our announcer.
Third race, we do have some track. Race 3, track 5, take the white, 5, take the white out. Looks like the white rain is coming through the air, kind of lightened up. Again, working on the track. About 5 minutes away, we're working on the track. Also, I'll have you bring the horse for the first out in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. We're looking to still breathing. So we try to make our way to the track in 5 minutes. Thank you.
So, according to our track announcer, there's going to be about a 5-minute delay before our first race, and I think I'm about to get rescued here, and maybe we're going to have to adjust our one camera here so we can get both Mark and I into the shot. Get ourselves ready for the races, and somebody that actually knows horse racing will actually be here. Mark, I'm going to ask you to hand hold that microphone if you don't mind, and that's the one you're going to be on this afternoon, and I'll let you get settled down here. I'm going to switch cameras so Jeff can go ahead and aim it on both of us, and hopefully not get wet doing so and electrocute himself as he does it, because we are dealing with rain coming down. Oh, good. And we just made sure that the primary talent for the show sits between the two tents and that the rain is leaking in on top of him. We always want to make sure that Mark is the most comfortable, and because he is the star of the show. When Kelly is with him, they're both the stars of the show, and the crew picks on them and just does everything. What? I need to be.
There's no way.
Yeah, what?
It's between you two?
Okay, I don't know whether we can do that or not.
There you go, man.
Welcome to live television, friends and neighbors, especially from a fairgrounds when it's raining and you're trying to do horse races that have been delayed. If you ever wonder what awkwardness is and live TV can be like, you're discovering it on the run today. This is the way things go, and I apologize if we come off amateurish. Some of us have actually been in broadcasting our entire lives, but don't know any better. And my crew actually tried to talk me out of doing the races down here today because of, the potential conditions. But my gosh, we are going forward here. And
I have your attention, the Martin please, post time. 2 minutes, digital post.
okay, 2 minutes to the first post time for the first race. Mark, talk to me a little bit about what you think's going on here.
Yes.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it, and thanks for filling in to what I got here this morning. What we're looking at today is there's these first couple races. If you've downloaded a program off the New York State Sire Stakes website, you'll notice that there's only one horse in each one of these races. Due to the fact that there's 3 county fair races being held today, scheduling is a huge problem for these trainers to get enough races in and get their horses rest. So first couple of races we're going to consider, they're going to be, the horse just has to complete the mile. But it's going to be a training session for this horse. He's going to get up behind the gate. The experience is going to be gained. It's going to be at
We
an...
can clear the racetrack. We're going to be bringing the 2-year-old filling trotter out of the track for both races.
It's going to be a new experience for him at another county fairgrounds. These are all just very positive things for this young horse. And obviously, we'd love to see more horses and be more action for the people at home. But take a look at the horse's stride and watch how this filly, the gait is. Then we can dictate between the trotters and pacers. The first race is a trot, excuse me. Look at the gait of the horse, and when we get to the second race, look at the gait of the next one, and it's a pacer. So if you're not familiar for trotters or pacers, it's a good time to get, there'll be some really good close-ups of these horses on the track, and then a little more experience for the people at home. They gain a little bit more interest in a trotter or a pacer and understanding the game. Like I say, we're about 2 or 3 minutes from post time for the first. The rain's trying to hold off. Hopefully we'll have some exciting races as we get deeper into our card. Once again, you're watching these races live stream on the Fair Racing Network.
And of course, these are the races that were scheduled for the Ontario County Fair down in Canandaigua. And Mark, you were intimately involved in what? Tell us the story.
Well, yesterday around 3:30, we had a phone call. Our friends down at Ontario County Fair, unfortunately, their track gave way. They had some problems with getting the racetrack fit for horses to go on. A few conversations with Kelly Young, who is the executive director of the New York State Breeders Development Fund. We decided we'd move them here because we had just raced last Tuesday. The track was relatively good shape, but I made a few phone calls. I had some fair board members meet me here last night. We worked 3 or 4 hours getting the track ready for today because, you know, we like to help our other county fairs, and also Hemlock is a harness racing track, and we're just keeping that tradition going today by helping out.
And the reason why we're here today, we were not scheduled to do the races today.
No, we weren't. This is a little extra bonus coverage, and I'm glad you guys decided to follow through with it, because first of all, I was one of the ones that didn't think we could pull it off with all the other stuff we had going on yesterday. But my hat's off to your crew, Bob. They did a great job getting here and getting up and doing the live stream.
Well, a great deal of the credit goes here to Jeff. We don't even have our main transmit computer, but our director, Owen Shepard, showed up at the house last night. We tested things. We bought what did we pay for that one adapter alone? What, $125 just to be able to have two cords meet into the computer? And of course, we're going to bill Kelly for that, or we'll get we'll abuse her a little bit later on. No, not really. That she gave us our budget.
Yeah.
We got to do it, and. But Jeff has worked his. He's not directed a live shoot before. This is his first time.
I don't have my phone.
Oh, you don't have your phone? Okay, here.
Give me the radio.
Okay, Mark is being called to the booth. There's obviously an issue. I'm going to close his microphone, and I'll cover. Come on over. We'll go to a different camera. Again, you have to understand, people. With the rain,
Here right at 2 o'clock.
just arriving, just planning the races today was literally an overnight gig. This broadcast was an overnight gig, and here we are. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it, but it's been a lot of fun. Jeff over here, as we were saying, Jeff Turov, has never live switched a TV show before, and Owens taught him how to do it in a couple hours this morning. So if you see some odd visuals and things like that, it's Jeff's fault.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yes, he is the Wizard of Weird. There's just no two ways about it. This is not Oz. This is just weird. And I apologize here. I have to adjust. If you wonder what this is all about, somebody watched the show last week and they said, Bob, what the heck is that you're sitting into? Well, this was something that was put together during medieval times for those of us who have to walk with a walker. And it's my walker, and it's what I sit in. And, this is what you do when you're a geezer. And maybe a little bit later on when we've got time, we'll tell you about the geezerchronicles.com. How the director of the Horse Breeders Development Fund for New York State is also what they call the goddess of the geezers. And Rebecca LeClaire, our great television star out of Rochester here that works with our group, well, she is the queen of the geezers. So we have self-proclaimed and then appointed Kelly. And there may be other people pending for other offices with that. And if you're wondering what the Geezer group is all about, I'm going to pitch it. Why not? TheGeezerChronicles.com. It's headed up by Jim Fullerton, our guy from Rappa. And he's the eldest of the group. The face for the Geezers thing is usually me doing something, especially with my walker or something like that. And the whole bunch of guys that are involved in this are just a lot of fun. But also we operate the Fair Racing Network, which is what we're working on today. And are you available now to chat?
Yeah, I'm available for a few minutes. We're in a slight delay because with the rules and the regulations that we can't start these races until an ambulance is on ground, so there may be a scheduling problem, or maybe they've got a emergency, but as soon as the ambulance gets here, then we can start the races. We're maybe a few minute delay. Please have some patience with us, but we're trying to get this thing together like last night at 3 o'clock in the afternoons when this whole thing started to come together. So and it's all, this is a whole volunteer organization. So we just have to work with each other. So hopefully within the next couple of minutes we'll get the program started.
People have no idea when you're pulling off an event like this or a live broadcast. There's a lot of hurry up and wait. I feel sorry for Jim, our associate producer. He shows up and basically sits until whatever hits the fan, and then he comes walking in with towels and mops it up. Jeff, when we did the Goshen races in 2020 from the historic track down there, 90 minutes sleep in 2 days. That was with everything that he had to do, and that was his first time with a live broadcast. And when the guys get upset with me, like Caleb, our top cameraman and stuff like that, and there's Ronnie Brisbane, who, by the way, had the tables and chairs here for us when we arrived this morning.
He's a good man.
Good man. And he operates camera for us. Rick Rickholt, who you might have been introduced to if you watched the Hemlock races a week ago on a Tuesday. Rick, yes, he's family for me. He's my brother-in-law, but he's been working television here at the Hemlock Fair for almost a decade. And they do everything from the demolition derbies to the tractor pulls and everything else that goes on. Maybe we should, I don't mean to talk about the Hemlock Fair, but it's easy for us to talk about because this is our home base, not only for our fair, but for the races. But let's talk about the Canandaigua Fair. What can you tell us about what's going on down there?
I was looking briefly at the schedule, and they have a lot of agricultural events. There's a live train show, like the model train show that's going on. We also have, they're having Ruby Shoes is playing down there one night. It's a very popular band.
Good show. Yes, very
They
good.
have the demolition derby, and they're also having some, a tractor pull. I think that's tomorrow night, but I think you go to the Ontario County Fair website and they'll have a full listing of all the events going on.
Okay, everybody better behave because the goddess of the Geezer Group, the director of the Horse Breeders Development Fund for the New York State Ag Department, is approaching the area here. And normally Kelly is the one at the other microphone.
Yes, yes.
When I'm not around, well, I'm usually around, but
Kelly's been my co-host in the very first one, and here in Hemlock, and was that 18?
right.
And then we did 19, and then we were down to Palmyra, and then in Goshen. It was a lot of fun. It's always been a lot of fun when we sit and talk horses in a nice sunny afternoon.
Kelly, we could move a chair over here, and I'll give you my microphone if you would like to join us. You're just... Oh, I think she's checking out the finish line and stuff like that. Kelly is working as one of the...
She's one of the inspectors today. We have every time the grounds has to be inspected, make sure it's safe and everything's up to code before these horses can get on the track.
Hey guys.
Hey Kelly, how are you today? Sorry for the delay.
No, I mean these things happen. Can I butt in a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. You're on. Here, in fact, please rescue me. Uh-oh. Somebody tied my cord up. I can't keep the microphone.
Well, I wanted to say a couple thanks, Bob, if that's okay, because we are racing here today. Thank you. We're racing here today due to the great work and quick action of a number of people, because we were originally scheduled, as I'm sure you've talked about, at Canandaigua, but their track surface wasn't going to be able to support us today. So I'd like to offer sincere thanks to Kim Crawford, who is a horseman and a track man, and he checked in on the track yesterday, and after some work and some yeoman's work to see if it would be salvageable for today, he and the track president decided it wouldn't be safe. So we kind of jumped into action. We were able to get a hold of Mark and here at the Hemlock Fair, and he was able to say, yep, we just finished our fair, we can have the track ready for tomorrow. Mark did the overnight work to make sure the track was all ready for today for these horsemen. We've got a little bit of a sprinkle, which is probably nice for the track as well. I'd like to thank Race Secretary Patty Bruno, who made sure all the officials were able to be here today in Hemlock, and it was just really great. The Fair Association here at the Hemlock Fair deserves a lot of credit for allowing us to do this, accommodating us, and jumping in where needed to make it happen. So I just want to thank everybody for making sure we can be here. Now, a little report from the other two fairs we had today. The Plattsburgh Fair just finished their races. They got them in right before the downpour, and apparently the same thing happened in Boonville. They got all their races in. The last race had a little bit of rain, but they are all done. So we are the last frontier today of the 3 fair racing day.
After everything we went through, Kelly, we're gonna have races here today. That's gonna happen. I just got to report the ambulance. It should be on the grounds within 5 minutes, so we're gonna be close to post time, and we can get this program going and get these horses raced.
Yeah.
And once again, thanks for everything you've done. You know,
It's-
working together, getting all the communications and back and forth calls. Everything worked like clockwork yesterday. The equipment showed up, people were ready to go, and it's just fun to be able to help. So I appreciate the things you gave us and the work yesterday. So we're back at it. That's all I know. I'm very happy when we're racing.
Thank you.
I finally got a microphone for you. See how efficient we can be? It's unbelievable.
Well, I appreciate it. I mean, there are some fans today. I had some inquiries about whether folks could come and watch in the grandstand. So a couple people were watching really closely on the social network channels and saw that the location had changed. So that's nice that there's some fans in the grandstand. The horseman population was really great when we reached out to them yesterday about moving. So we're really lucky that everything went really smoothly. We have not, to my knowledge, done this before, had to move. Often, you know, our track condition problems are due to rain on the day of the races. You don't have advance warning, and there's really no place to go anyway.
Over here, this was the only dry spot on the whole fairgrounds after last week. Before we started, the weekend before startup we start on a Tuesday. From Friday night till Sunday, we had 4 inches of rain.
Oh, wow.
So the grounds look a little rough when the horsemen come in, but the track was the only thing that was hard and dry. So I said, this isn't going to be a problem. It's the only place on the track and the only place on the fairgrounds that we could do anything. So we're happy to pitch in and get this job done.
Yeah, no, this is really wonderful that we were able to move in, and having a day's advance notice seems like a luxury. So hopefully we never have to do that
I
again.
don't know, Kelly. We planned the fair in 5 weeks, so just planning one event in a few hours seemed
Seems
natural
fine.
to us lately.
Seems fine. Well, I also want to thank Bob. I want to thank you and your team, because when we relocated, you said, you know what, I think we can broadcast, and that's really nice to be able to allow folks at home to see the races live. Thank you.
Well, and again, it goes back to the Hemlock Fair. This was in 2019, our first broadcast, and you were part of that, and it was a disaster. There was no two
But
ways.
fun
about it.
and hot.
It wasn't a disaster because of you, Kelly. It was a disaster because we'd never done it before. Now our broadcasts, at least when we go up, we're live. We've got better cameras, better equipment. Steve Nichols of the Hemlock Fair made sure we had Ethernet connection, which is helps us a great deal. And then the crew. If you could have been with the crew last night, when we're trying to put all this together, because Owens couldn't make it and he has the transmit computer. So today we're using a literally a laptop as our transmit computer, which is Jeff's. And we had to go out and buy parts because nothing matched, of course. And Jeff has never live switched a show before. Owens has always done it. So the crew's sitting there going, Bob, this is nuts. Then as we're driving down here, Jim Pollards and I are in the car driving down, and I know Caleb, our top cameraman, and Jeff and everybody had left in their cars to drive down here out of Rochester, which is what, about a 30-mile drive, something like that. So it's not exactly, if you forget something, you're not going to run back home and get it, especially for me. I live in Hilton, New York, which is about another 20 minutes beyond Rochester. But they're all sitting there going, Bob, this is freaking nuts. And then Mark calls me while we're on the road down there, and he goes, we're supposed to get thunder and lightning. We can't put Caleb up in the lift. He'll get zorched.
That's my biggest concern today.
And I said, well, we'll use what we call drum corps protocol. You stay away from people that wave flags with metal poles and the big horns, the contras, which are the tubas. When it starts to thunder and lightning, you run like heck.
Yeah, but if there's thunder and lightning, we're not going to have horses on the track here. So we don't need to just worry about Caleb. We're going to get the horses off the track for safety. We've got to keep everybody safe here. And I'll tell you what, the drivers and the trainers, the horsemen here, I can see them. They're all waiting very patiently. Sometimes we have these little hiccups, right? Like this whole week, it feels like a hiccup these last 2 days.
And it's only Tuesday. I swear it's Thursday or Friday, and I know that it's only Tuesday afternoon.
Kelly, not to switch gears, can I ask you a couple questions? Batavia just opened. What is the Sire Stakes schedule coming up? Because
We have a Sire Stakes tomorrow night. We actually have kind of a doubleheader. We have 2 divisions, so I'm planning to be there. I came out for my Western New York voyage this morning to hit up this fair, and I'll be at Batavia tomorrow evening. And then they have one more Sire Stakes next Wednesday as well.
okay. Was it Trotter Spacers tomorrow night?
Tomorrow we have 3-year-old Pacers.
Oh, nice, nice. Get some nice weather. They'll really spin around that track pretty fast.
Yeah.
Races ought to be good.
Well, it's fun to have such a big Sire Stakes card. It's a full program, so it's just nice, fun to be at Batavia. We had a really great night of champions there
Yes, we
2
did.
years ago in
Certainly did. I still
2019.
Oh,
remember.
that was fabulous.
Yeah, they get a lot of a lot of fan participation. It's one of our tracks that really, the locals come out and support the racing. So it's a lot of fun to go there and be surrounded by people who really, really enjoy watching the horses.
Well, plus on top of that, again, as I explained when we opened the show today, I'm totally new to the industry. I mean, I'm bottom bass drum at a drum and bugle corps, and I'm learning horse racing from you guys as we go along. And that was the most fun and a great
Barn area, under and back around. That 2-year-old Philly Trotter, back on to the
oh my gosh, look, Kayla's going up in the list.
It looks like we're going to race. I am going to leave you guys, but I just wanted to thank everybody for making this happen today, and hopefully we have a great program and a lot of fun.
Well, we'll look forward to maybe having you back at the end of the show.
I will try to. If it's pouring, I'm probably not going to cross the track, Bob. But if it's like this, I'll brave the
It's
elements.
a demolition pit. What could go wrong?
Well, I've got rain going down my back right now, so any harder, I'm out. Thank you guys. Thank you for letting me join you, and have fun today.
Hey,
Thanks,
we wouldn't
Kelly.
be here
Appreciate
without
it.
you, Kelly. You have no idea how appreciated you are by the Geezer Group. Mark, you want to tell us what's about to happen here?
The first race is going to be the first race is for 2-year-old trotting fillies. Like I mentioned before in the beginning of our broadcast before the delay, there's only one horse entered, and it's due to scheduling. There's 3 fairs going on today, with the Ontario County Fair being a new fair joining. I think that's the reason we have less horses today. But like I was talking before, this is going to be a learning experience for this 2-year-old filly. To get more experience behind the gate. It's going to be looking at different things, and besides that, she's going to get a nice paycheck of $2,750. And as Kelly's always said, that this program is you earn as you learn, and this filly's going to learn a lot and pick up a nice payday today. So we'll keep our eyes on her.
Could I split one of these races? I'll take my walker. That's the equivalent of a sulky, and I'll run a mile.
Bob, we have to be out of here by 4 or 5 this afternoon, so we can't delay the rest of these races.
Understood. I was wondering, do we have a way with one of our cameras of catching Caleb up there in the sky? Is there a yeah, take that one. I'll go to the track camera, and if you could turn that one around off the talent, or what's left of the talent.
Am I out of the picture again?
Yeah, you're out.
I'm way out of the picture because we got to do something here because this rain comes down. We have to change this camera angle or something.
What, you getting wet?
Yeah. All right, we'll move again.
All
Hang
right.
on.
I'm going to shut your mic off, Mark, and I'll keep babbling. Okay, let's see. If I go to camera 1, you see that guy up there in the lift, and the wire dangling from the lift? That's how we get such great aerial shots of the races. And I probably should have picked up the walkie-talkie and told Caleb that we were going live on him, but there he is. And wow. I mean, and he's up there for hours. When we go down to Goshen, last year he was up there for 13 heats, I believe, and when they tried to bring him down, the lift, they couldn't get it to turn on. And the running joke was Diana, his lady friend, was working as one of our producers, and the whole crew is sitting there going, "Leave him up there, we'll just escape with the producer." That shows you the kind of people that poor Caleb has to work with. And by the way, it's Conrad is the gentleman that's up there with him working, and you couldn't get me to do what those guys do. First of all, I worked aloft on destroyers when I was in the Navy, but I was like 21, 22 years old. In my 70s, I don't think you're going to get me up there like you see these guys. Your mic's open again, Mark.
Okay, thanks, Bob. We're just waiting for I think we'll have the parade to post, and then this filly's going to be getting up behind the gate, and be showtime here in a second.
Okay, we're
in the
back.
first here, we're gonna, like I say, it's like when we talked earlier, we're gonna have some pretty nice photos of this horse. We're gonna track her all the way around the track with our camera. Watch the stride on this filly, and then you can compare that to the next race's stride on the pacer. Then you'll be able to differentiate the difference between a trotter and a pacer. I like to use the references as a swimmer. Sometimes it's a different stroke of swimming. Well, strides, these horses have two different strides, trotters and pacers. So getting the call for the first. Here we go.
And the 2-year-old filly trotter on the track for today's first. It is going a mile. First up, 2,750 One so brazen. Raised with 2-year-old by sight out of the Canandaigua Mares. Magic into the York by Canandaigua. Driven by Claude Hubble. Call them the walkover. Gotta do it. A mile.
It's fine.
Anybody by the green gate there by the entrance, if we could get that closed, please, that would starter Terry Mays picking up the trot. Chloe Trotter still brazen to the gate. It is post time for race number 1. Canandaigua, as we are so graciously been able to race this event here at Hemlock. Gate rolls off the turn, top of the stretch. Here they come, or she comes. Picking up speed, and away she goes. So brazen makes her way into the first turn. Her ears are switching back and forth, waiting for instructions to be caught up on the third. She makes her trot through the first turn by the tree. Through the 8 pole she goes. Wind going through her mane. Oh, she went off stride. Taking a little hopscotch gallop as she comes off the turn. Takes out a pylon. Destroying public property. Oh boy. So she goes to the opening quarter. And she's going to approach that quarter in 42 seconds. Makes her way through the far turn. It's so brazen. Again, this EL Titan filly, bred in Kentucky by Steve Stewart. Looking for her first win of the season. If she makes it around another lap in a final turn, she'll get it. So here she comes. Hey, let's give her a little round of applause as she goes by. Let her know that she's being loved out there. So here she comes, so brazen. She's on the trot now, trotting nicely up the front stretch. She rolls her way to the hat. She's going to cross under that line in. And 120. Now she goes to turn number 3. The sun starts to peak through the clouds here. Hemlock. Go back in. So Arena. By the tree and by 5/8. Makes her trot down the backside. Hopefully she'll not run over any more pylons. As they head down the back stretch. So breathing. Being good girl this lap. Get the jump. Gonna go by the 3/4 here in just a moment. Go by 3/4 in. 157. So she makes her way to the final turn. So brazen. She's only a little over an eighth of a mile from her first victory in 2021 and a lifetime here. Roll off the final turn and she'll turn for home. You guys can clap for her if you want. Let her know she's loved out there. Here she comes down the front stretch. Making her approach to the wire. It's so brazen. And nice applause from the audience there. Mile at 2:35.
As you've seen, this filly, Claude Huckabone, guided her around the track. She made a little bobble after the going to the quarter, but she had to cover that ground again when she went by the second time. I think Claude made a little adjustment, whether got her straightened out, and she really trotted a nice mile.
That 2-year-old Colton Gelding pacer for the second race. As soon as she comes off the track, he'll be coming onto the track. We'll go right to the second.
Obviously, the winner in the first is So Brazen, owner of Connie Lane, and trained by Claude Huckabone the third. It's her first career win. Congratulations.
I didn't turn my microphone on it. You'd think after 60 years of broadcasting I'd know how to do that.
That's part of it. Old check, $1,750. New York Tire State all hers.
Obviously, that was a nice training mile. She'll be ready for her next county fair race with a little bit more experience under her belt and a few more dollars in the bank. So it's nice to see. We're moving on to the second, which is a two-year-old Colton Gelding pace, and now we'll be able to look at the difference between the trotters and a pacer. So pay close attention to the gait on this one horse.
This is kind of like racing 101. I'm
Absolutely.
learning a lot being able to watch this.
When there's small fields this way, we can do a little more.
The birthday boy, his 21st birthday here today. Drive the one into next birth. Give him a little birthday shout out in the roll line. He'll go 1-4 into the gate.
We're looking at the one going up the back stretch and should be headed to the gate. Obviously, check out the difference in the way these horses' legs move. Pacers are the right side front and back move together, and then the left side front and back move together. With the trotter, it's right front, left hind, left front, right hind. Those are the two differences, but you can check this out.
Say that one more time.
See the
All right, Charter Terry May's going to pick up this 2-year-old Gelding pacer into the next birth. Both sides, race number 2.
Pacers move from side to side. The right side front and back leg move together, then the left side. So the right side and front and back move together, and the trotter is across. Their front leg and their front right leg with their back leg move together. It's the difference between the trotters and the pacers. This filly looks pretty handy. Colt, excuse me. This colt looks pretty handy.
And away he goes. Instant expert enters that first turn. Now, he was just here last week and posted 209 miles. That was in a 5-horse. He's all by himself. And if he beat that, we'll find out. Looks like he's a little revved up on the sit there, goes by the gate, and heads down the backside of the opening quarter. He's an expert. Paces well down the back stretch. And he'll go to the opening quarter and 31 seconds. Oh my.
Blistering.
So instant expert. Must have heard me that time to beat a 209. He's on the 2 here. 31 seconds at opening quarter. He'll go by 3-8. He'll come by us the first time. He's trying to get his $2,750 as fast as he can to watch that score. Coming to the half. Here comes the instant expert. Kyle driving like he's going through a hat. 102.
Wow.
He's been rated 31 seconds quarter. That's how he got the memo. The second blanket is all his. But here they go by 5-8, and they're going to head down the back stretch the second time. And this freight train is not slowed down. It's a 2-year-old colt by Huntsville. Still on the engine. Kyle's even showing the lift. Must have some place to be. As they go to 3/4, instant expert. 134. So he took a 32-second breather down the backside. Now he'll roll to the front. And as he rolls by 7 inches, he'll be coming down the chute here to the wire. The birthday boy Kyle Cummings turning 21 today. The instant expert. Down the stretch they come. Cluster top. He's been rocking this mile. Let's see what he trips the timer. 2:06.
Nice.
He shattered his late time mark.
Really nice mile, this horse. He was all full of horse today. Kyle really had his hands full of him. This guy he meant business from the time the gate swung. He raced all by himself. It was a great training mile. It's going to set him up for something in his next race. These horses get better, they seem, as each starts. So nice from going from 209 to 206. For the owners of Graham and Tademeyer, the connections on this horse, trained by Jimmy Graham. They got a nice one in the barn there.
Now, he didn't break stride, right?
No, not at all.
He had a perfect
mile.
Perfect mile.
Yes, perfect mile.
And a good time.
Very good time. A big drop from Tuesday's races. He dropped 3 seconds off of his last race. He raced here Tuesday during our fairs races, and today he come back and took 3 seconds off of his lifetime mark, which is a nice achievement. It's always a stepping stone. You go forward. So a really nice tightening train mile for this horse.
So the birthday boy taking a victory lap, and well deserved here. I know he was the only one out there, but short mile of 2:06 and 3 seconds off his lifetime best after the last Tuesday. Right here at Hemlock.
And look, that horse is still just perfect.
Making his way back to the winner's circle, the one in next for the baseball 2-year-old by Huntsville. Out of the All-American Venus mare, it's pedigree job. Bred in New York by Keith Jones, owned in Scottsville, New York by Paul Samuel Mayer, Lee Winters of Medina, Ed Sharon of Syracuse, along with trainer Jim Graham of Hamburg. Driven to victory by the birthday boy, 21-year-old driver Kyle Cummings. And the time of 2:06, a new lifetime mark for the one, the next first.
That's a nice picture right there in the winner's circle. That's a fine looking colt.
Sense that he's going to be getting shots like that for a while.
I think there's going to be a few more cameras in that horse's future, absolutely. We're going to move on to the third. It's 2-year-old filly pace. In this race we have 6.
All right, 2-year-old filly pace is up next, third race. We're scratched down to a field of 5.
Oh,
5 takes the light.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that. Pink Delight has been scratched. So we're down to 5 horses in this one. They'll be getting on the track momentarily to parade the post.
We'll take the 2-year-old.
This race is going to be a purse of $3,000.
Now, is it divided up equally between or how's it broke down?
Absolutely, it's divided over the first 5 horses that finish. So the winner gets 50%, 25% for second, and I think it's 12, 8, and then 5%. So if you finish at least 5th, you're going to get your money back. You're going to get a little bit of, you're going to make a little bit of money. But obviously, as the better you place, the more you're going to receive of the purse money.
Interesting, because, and I apologize for this, but in old drum corps, when we'd have a 5-corps show, that's the way the purses would break down.
A lot of these races, there's most, like at a parimutuel track, there's usually 8 contestants, so that's why they pay the first 5 positions.
Now, you consider that the Canandaigua, Ontario County races, brand new this year. There were 2 other fairs holding. To have the third heat, though, with 5 participants, well, actually 6, 1 scratched,
Right.
that's not bad.
It's not bad at all. Like I say, it's just a matter of what horses, what 2-year-olds were ready and what area they were, like their trainers might be from up north or wherever. It's a crapshoot until they, you enter your horse 4 days before the race, and sometimes there's big fields in these county fair races. Other times there's few, like we've seen earlier. But the biggest obstacle is navigating this summer program. There's so many options to race, but sometimes they're so on top of each other, and you just can't hit as many as you would like to. But the horsemen do the best they can to get enough races in for those horses, because they're all going for those points and point system, so they can make it to the championships down in Goshen in September.
And we'll be there.
Yes, we will. We'll be very happy to be down there. The races down there last year were exciting. We did the Landmark Series. We did a little bit of the Grand Circuit, had a race, and then we had 8 county fair championship races. It was a ball, even without spectators because of the COVID pandemic. It was just a ball. The races were outstanding, and now this year when we get down there, there's going to be a full grandstand of people. It's just going to be a good time.
And what a beautiful facility.
It is top notch. I mean, if you ever go down there and check out the Harness Hall of Fame is attached to the grounds, and there's so much history down there. If you're a harness racing buff, it's a must. It really is a must.
We will be next Tuesday in Horseheads, New York.
Yes, we will. We'll be in Horseheads on Tuesday. I think post time is 12 noon. We're looking forward to that. Horseheads is a nice. They always have a big turnout with a lot of horses. So.
In the late 60s, I worked in Elmira Heights, Horseheads, Pine City, that Big Flats area. And I had the privilege of being at the Chemung County Fair in 1969. And a little bit of history here. The concert that I was privileged to MC was the Fifth Dimension.
Nice.
Oh, it was. It was
it had to be fun.
Billy Davis and Marilyn McCoo. I went back up to the radio station to do Midnight to Dawn, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, they came into the studio, and we sat and chatted on the air and played their music for 3 hours.
Unbelievable.
It just was.
It's got to be an experience you never forget about.
Absolutely.
That had to be great.
Absolutely. 1969, what? I was 21 years old. Yikes.
On top of the world.
And now, look where my career has gone. I'm sitting here with you. And
by the end of the fair season, Bob, you'll be thinking, you'll fall in love with these horse races by the end of fair season.
Already have. And there's the call to
we're going to have our track announcer.
All right, 3-year-old Philly Pacer on the track for the third. New York County Fair Sire State event is going for $1,000. Awarded to the minute by trainer driver Tom Hungenfeld, along with 6 trucks. 2 is American Temptation, vehicle Sawyer is the owner, trainer, driver. 3 Black Knight Ladies owned by Houston Kelvin and trainer Jim Grant. 4 Kitchens and Rainbows owned by Margaret Wilson, Dustin Miller, and trained by 5 Pink the Light is out, 6 Center Attraction owned by Pam Schreiber and trainer Bob Anderson. Denny Terry, Field Flat. Extra field of 5 for race number 3, 2-year-old Philly Pacer. Have a date to the gate, just 1 score in less than 2 minutes. Go for a purse of $3,000, 5 Pink the Light. Has been correct.
Here we go. Momentarily, these horses are. The post parade is finished. They're going to make their final score, and they're headed up the backstretch, and it's almost post time. These are two-year-old pacing fillies for a purse of $3,000. And note the 5 pink delight is scratched out of this event. Field is they're getting into formation. We're momentarily away from the call of the third. You know, it's getting these young horses in close quarters up behind the gate. It's not an easy task for these guys. There's hours of schooling these horses, getting them used to being next to another horse, and then having a barricade in front of them to follow. I really tip my hat to these trainers who work with these horses day and night. It's truly a task to understand the animal and try to get them up to the gate. It's just keep an eye on the work these guys do. It's amazing the amount of work that goes into getting these horses around the track.
2-year-old filly pacer will line up behind the gate, race number 3.
In this race, you'll note that the 5 will be trailing the 1 horse because they only go 4 wide here due to the narrow tracks. So you'll see one's off stride. Looks like there's a horse off stride.
Also going off stride, the 2 American Temptation. They are off. They're pacing. From that second tier, center of track. Went up from third to the Medusa. And they 5, 2 American Temptation. 6 Rainbows, the early trailer. Coming out of that pickle in the second tier, center of track. Going right after Black Knight Lady, where these 2 ladies had a $9,000 jumper. Last Monday, they're going in just a nail right to the corner. Crossover with the lead. Center of traction, 30 seconds in the opening stand.
Nice.
So center of traction, the American Ideal filly leads it by a length and a half. Black Knight Lady is sitting in their second, back third, about an 8 or 9 length gap, and 2 with Medusa. Then a gap of about 15 to American Temptation and 6 and Rainbow. Top 8 being set up front here by center of traction. She's front and center on the front end right now for Jenny Terry. Then you got the 3 Black Knight Lady. They're going to roll on that. 101. Into that turn they go, turn 3. And Jenny's trying to keep her alive here. Center of traction on the front end. About length, 3/4 over the Black Knight Lady. American Temptation, 6 and Rainbows. Well strung out field except for the 2 on top. Center of traction. Kyle coming by this time with Black Knight Lady. Heading down the left side with 3/4. Trying to catch center of traction. Black Knight Lady still there. 3/4 go. 132. As they make their way through the far turn, center of traction's been there. Sends the word go. Black Knight Lady right on her helmet. Quite a few lengths back to the Medusa and American Temptation. 6 and Rainbow. They roll off the turn, they head for home. Center of traction trying to get away. Black Knight Lady trying to keep pace, but center of traction in full pace right now, leads by about 4 or 5. Center of traction takes it all the way. Black Knight Lady is second to the Medusa. Time of the mile 2:04. Battle's going to be for 4th, and 6 and Rainbows has caught American Temptation. There goes to the Medusa for that 3rd spot. 1 final run from 6 and Rainbows, and American Temptation is 4th over the Rainbows. And time of the mile 2:04.
The winner in the 3rd or center in traction in mile in 2:04. If you look at the start, this horse started from the 2nd tier. And she was all business. I mean, the fractions of 30 the first quarter. I think they got to the half of 101 and over the 3/4 of 132. And she was by far the strong. They weren't catching her today. For owners of Robert Anderson and Pamela Shriver. And it was trained by Robert Anderson and driven by Danny Burcheri. Outstanding mile today. This horse, these 2 probably will be matched up again somewhere down the road. I'm sure we'll see both of these 2 battling it out again. But today it was all center of attraction. We're going to be getting the official results from the announcer momentarily as this horse makes her way back to the winner's circle for the presentation.
I'm watching our footage. Caleb's doing an incredible job up on the top camera. Just he's to be congratulated. I think he's, yeah, there he is.
See this 6 or so. There's Caleb getting a little. Now there's not many fans here today because yesterday this were scheduled to be in Ontario County, but I do give the people credit. They were able to track over here.
The winner of the third race, 2-year-old Philly Pace, the 6th center attraction of a Philly 2-year-old by American Ideal. Out of the Yard Ranger Bear, North Center, born in Fruitburg, New York, by Sam Schreiber, along with trainer Bob Anderson, took the victory at the Oakfield Flag. Denny Terry. Back-to-back winner of Jumpstart on Monday. Third win for Lane Time Start for Lane Time Messenger today. Time is 2:04 for the 6th. Center.
I think the 6 might have had a little bit left in the tank because she was all business today, and just an outstanding burst of speed to the going to the quarter from the second tier, grabbed the top, and she was all boss today. There was no catching her.
Third, Super Medusa was third. American Cascade fourth. Black Knight second. Six to Lane Track Center and Track. 342 fine track on the bottom. 204. Third race is 0 Philly Pace. Sixth center and track to get to Sire. Back-to-back winner. Jumper. And Canandaigua slash Hemlock. 2 Lane Time Mark. 6th center.
As we get ready for the 4th, we got the screen out on the track. I'd like to thank all the guys that are helping me today. I like these people that are, all the people working here today, dragging the track at the gates. These are all fair board members that decided to come over and pitch in because we're a harness racing fair, and they just like when we can do things like this, they're more than happy to pitch in and help. Couldn't do it without them.
And when you think about this, is just about in the middle of harvest season. You got people bringing in wheat and hay, and
Yeah, absolutely.
and so they're coming off their farms and giving up their time and. And with the weather conditions, I'm absolutely amazed.
So am I.
Jim, have you looked at the radar lately to see?
You're clear for another hour.
We're clear
Perfect.
for another hour. That's good to
All
hear.
around us. If you were about 10 miles south, we'd be in trouble.
10 miles south of Hemlock, New York, you'd be in trouble. And anything happening up in Rochester and Monroe County?
It's moving south. No, Rochester's cleared out too.
It has. Excellent.
It
Good.
never rains in Hemlock, Bob.
I see.
It never rains in Hemlock during race day. We've never been rained out in
Well, we've never
40
been.
years I've been here. I've never had a day where we had to cancel the harness racing.
Oh, well, the harness racing, no. But years ago, I've been with the fair about 35 years. And there were years where I've seen the Midway look like a river.
Tim McKnight Jr. is going to be on the 4 Breeders' Circle. What's upcoming for us?
We stick to traditions here at harness racing. What comes first, and
That's right.
it seems like somebody's always looking out for us harness racing day.
Well, the one thing I'm proud of is when, in what I think was 2018, you and I were driving along and had a conversation about calling Kelly. And
Yeah.
I sent her an email, Kelly Young, the executive director of the Horse Breeders Development Fund, and said, these fair races would be fun to video stream.
Absolutely.
You've got video streaming of horse races from the pari-mutuel tracks and
Right.
from
Right.
around the world.
Absolutely.
In fact. And no one, everybody was ignoring the agricultural fairs across New York State and what they do to contribute
Absolutely.
to the horse racing industry. And that's when we decided, well, okay, we're going to give it a try. Well, COVID got in the way.
Yes, it did. It certainly did.
We started in 2019 here at Hemlock. Then we went to Palmyra. Then we went to Goshen in 2020,
Right.
which was just
It was a ball. It
well,
was
Linda
fun.
and the whole crew at the Goshen track are just amazing people to deal with. We'll be back there on September 3rd. Next week, we are down in Chemung County in Horseheads. As I said, I'm just thrilled to be going back to the Chemung County Fair. And then we're in Trumansburg.
Trumansburg on, I think it's the last Tuesday of August. Maybe the 23rd, 25th, and through that neighborhood. 24th, maybe. I'm not sure.
I
I'll have to
honestly
check
don't
the date.
know.
It's the last Tuesday before Labor Day weekend. But Trumansburg's a beautiful fair. It's Midway's on. They have a lot of big. It's all treed. It's just a beautiful place to go down and watch the races and walk around. It's a really Americana of a county fair. It's just that's what you would expect to see at a county fair when you go there. Well, we're almost ready for the 4th. 4th is going to be 2-year-old colts and gelding trotters, and they're going for a purse of $2,950. Now, hopefully you guys. Hopefully a few people at home have downloaded their program off the New York State Sire Stakes website. This race is a return of quite a few of the horses that had gotten their last start here at Hemlock. So it looks like there's off this program. It looks like there's 4 out of the 5 raced here last Tuesday. So we're just gonna sit and we'll see who some of the experience maybe being here once before will pay off. We'll see how this plays out.
I'm just hoping the wind doesn't take our tents. You can hear it in the microphones.
Horses are calling the parade to post for the 4th. 2-year-old trotting colts.
2-year-old colt gelding trotters on the track for the 4th as we have the New York County Fair Sire Stakes division. Going on, $2,950 for one is within 3. Cabin is dominating well with that right. Skip Thomas strength is right. 2 and some right. Skip Thomas 4th is the North, 1 on the long short, 3 is nothing to do. By Doug and Tyler Athlete and coming straight to title. 4 Breeding Turbo by Timothy Dominic, Skip Dominic Spring, Skip McSwing, test driver, 5-4-3 time. Ray Knowles is the owner, trainer, and driver, along with Skipper. Field ride. Gelding Trotter, New York County Fair Sire Stakes division, going a mile. $950. Skip McSwing Jr. on the 4 Breeding Turbo. No notification. Less than 2 minutes.
As our camera pans the field of these horses making their final score to the gate. These are all 2-year-old trotting colts. Getting into formation, and in this race also the 5 will start from behind the 1. And it's a 5-horse field, so he'll be it's called the 2nd tier. He'll start right behind the 1 because these narrow county fair tracks, they only start 4 wide. But it's just a safety thing. It's obviously a safety factor, but being behind the 1 isn't always a bad post position because you're right up next to the rail. So I think it's fair for everyone. It's a fair start and a fair post position. And you can see in the last race, it didn't bother the 6 whatsoever. Just took control of the race right going up the backstretch, and that was it. So we'll see what happens here now in the 4th with how the 5th plays, what his strategy is when they get to the start.
We're going to take a
Solitary
Yeah.
Maid home and Trotters for the gate. It's go time, race 4. Trotters line up behind the gate. New York County Fair Sire Stakes. Close to $2,950. The gate rolls around start, top of the stretch. Here they come. Off stride behind the gate. He actually had a nose on the gate top. Nothing to do. Off stride. And down the stride. For the rest of them, catch up to Turbo. Coming up. Back down front, he doesn't know what to do. 3 claims advantage. He's got about a 2-lane advantage. Then down the backside, Breeders Turbo now is on front. Outside the pocket, Breeders Turbo. What does it do? He gathered himself, and now he's got a pretty big advantage. Living Like a Dream in their third, back down front. Breezes Turbo in fourth, Recon is the trailer. Go by in 3/8 will come under the first time. Leader on the front end. All chasing the pace, beautiful check cut, Dug-a-doo. He's on top by about 6-7 lengths. Sunrise winner in there second. Living Like a Dream. Breezes fourth, Recon. Go by the hand, 106. Okay, good. Second. In that second order, in the tournament 3 they go. And the leader, Kyle Cummings, the birthday boy, Dug-a-doo, leads it up there by about 5-6 lengths. Sunrise winner trying to reel him in. And their third, that's Living Like a Dream. And you got Breezy Turbo and fourth, Recon, a well-strung outfield trotter. Ahead to 3/4, they're still trying to track down Dug-a-doo. 3/4 miss. 1:37, 31 seconds down the backside. Dug-a-doo, still the one. Sunrise winner getting closer. Only about 3.5, 4 behind, and then you got Living Like a Dream. Breezy Turbo and fourth, Recon. They make their turn for home. And Dug-a-doo, he's only got less than 1/8 mile to go. Sunrise winner looking to make it interesting in stretch, but it's going to be Dug-a-doo. Win again. Probably about 3/4 of the length over Sunrise winner, time of the mile. 2:11.
The winner here in the fourth, Dug-a-doo, after a little bobble at the start, got to the top and cut the fractions the way he wanted and held off a late charging Sunshine winner for the win. For owners Doug and Tara Joanne Ackley of Gowanda, New York, and he's trained by Tammy Cummings, driven by Kyle Cummings. Waiting to hear the fractions. I know they picked it up quite a bit going to the 3/4. I'll be interested in seeing the time, but nice big strong trotter out of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howell. When this horse comes back, take a look at this horse when he comes back. Just an outstanding picture of a trotter.
Dewey?
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe?
That was the dad's horse. That was the Sire. That was the Sire, yeah.
I thought it was a Johnny Carson joke there for a moment. Shows you what I know.
Dewey, Cheatham, and Howell had an outstanding career as a racehorse and a sire. He's thrown quite a few offspring that are done quite a bit of winning on this in the New York Sire State Circuit.
I'm sorry, but I got to brag about the camera work that Caleb does up there in that lift. That is just...
It makes us look fantastic.
He really does. And Jim Vollerson's doing our finish line camera here. Which, by the way, if you're wondering, those tents that you see, that's where we're at. And all the noise you hear is the wind. Every once in a while, the breeze comes up quite healthy here. Now, does that have any effect on the horses when they're running?
Sometimes, Bob. It all not as much the wind, but the sound of it. But when these horses get into a tight pack and say they're racing close to each other, they're just concentrating on what they can basically see and what's around them. Some horses get very nervous when there's loud noises, so they're like I failed to mention earlier when one of the horses was racing. Like I was talking about, the winner of the second race, Instant Expert. If you were to watch the replay, it'll show the driver take his foot and reach up near the horse's hindquarter. There's a loop there. He puts his toe in, and he actually pulls out the plugs that are in the horse's ear. That plug is usually kept to keep the horse calm, but then when he wants the horse to race a little bit more, they'll pull the plug out so he can hear the excitement. Gives the horse a little bit more burst of energy.
I know that people that are into horse racing, earplugs?
Oh yeah, and it doesn't look net. You'd think that the driver's got his foot up near the horses, leg or hind quarter. It's not what it appears to be. What he is doing is taking his foot, so he's got both hands in the reins. The only thing he can use is his foot to pull those earplugs out, so there's a loop. Puts his toe in it, pulls the plug, and the horse hears the sounds of the races, and it usually tends to make the horse go on a little bit faster. But maybe we'll be able to see that in one of these later races.
Just as an explanation, and I apologize for the audio thing that just happened there. We're using FM microphones, and every once in a while there's a burst of static. My apologies for that. We will fix that in the future. Not sure how, but we'll get it done.
We'll work on it. We'll work on it. This is Benny. Bob, would you like to give your website out for comments and any people that want any questions?
Yes, obviously some of you are watching us directly on the fairracingnetwork.com. But we'd love your comments, suggestions, anything that you would like us to do differently, like get rid of the face for radio here. Whatever. It's so much better when you and Kelly are doing this because especially, well, you and Kelly both are just so incredibly knowledgeable. And we hope to have Paige Usiak joining our team here from Buffalo Raceway by the time we get to Goshen. But my email address is bscott@BobScottProductions with an S at the end of productions. So at bobscottproductions.com. Please email us with your comments. And, we're going to ask you to be kind. I mean, it's not nice to make fun of the older gentleman.
Which one?
Well, you're grayer than I am, but that's the reason I wear the hat. And then there's Jeff over here, Jeff Turiff, our director-producer, who is graybeard. I mean, that's the other way of describing it. He doesn't realize that, he's not gray on top. He's just gray. He's aging himself. It's just not good. And then there's Jim Vollerson over here. He's the senior citizen of the group. He's here to make me look good. Anyway,
going back to the questions that were coming in, one of the questions that I tried to do better at was give the owner's name of the winning horse. And my wife told me they are exactly right. After she watched the replay, she said, you need to concentrate a little harder on announcing a horse's name and the people who own these horses. So I'm trying a little better to see if I can alleviate that problem. And the person who wrote that in, I appreciate it because they were 100% right.
And Mrs. Shiro,
she
is the boss.
Absolutely.
No two ways about it.
Absolutely.
When she was standing over here off set a little bit ago, the look she was giving you, I thought of my own wife, short and grumpy.
She keeps me in line. I should say she tries to keep me focused. Hers are parading to the post for the 5th. It's a 3-year-old trotting fillies for a purse of $35.50.
First $3,550 for one summer's luck, owned by Lewis. Owner, trainer, driver, Richard Papa from Utica. Number 2 is Latitude, owned by Connie Bush and Linda Bush, Dennis Reese, trainer and driver. 3 is Southwind Fistra, owned by John and Carol Grant, John and Daniel Baird, Leopold Sawyer, is the trainer and driver. 4 is the Barn Baby, owned by trainer Steve and Andy Pratt from the Lane Stables House and Country Stable. Kyle Cummings is the driver 5 is with. Over the money is stable. Follow the bone turn, train, and drive. That can kill the time. 3-year-old filly Tron and Liberty, 5 years, 23rd player 6. Door line is paid 3,550. Once more today, time. 1 2.
The horses are finishing their parade to post. They're taking their final score in front of the grandstand, and they're going to be making their way to the backstretch momentarily for the start of the 5th. 3-year-old trotting fillies. The full field of 5. If you note the 3, Southwind Sinister, he won his last race here at Hemlock in a time of 2:08. So he's the defending champion so far on this track. So far, we'll see how it goes in this one.
I'm seeing Barn Baby. Is
Yes.
that the one you were pointing out to
Yeah.
me from Purple Haze Stables
Yeah,
in Fairport?
Yeah, they're owned by Steve Pratt and the Purple Haze Stable in Fairport. And Purple Haze Stable has a very, very nice stable of racehorses from the county fair level right up to the main Sire Stakes. I think it's Wanda Policini owns that stable, and they do some outstanding. They're very charitable. They're a very charitable organization. They get behind a lot of great benefits, and like I say, Wanda really enjoys these races, these horses, and she has a very nice stable of racehorses.
Well, in fact, last year she was a major contributor to our first year of going down to Goshen,
Right.
and we thank Wanda and her group for supporting us the way she did.
$550. They're at the top of the stretch. Here they go.
Here we go.
We're off and trying to set the 3 Southwind Sinister. Barn Baby looking out there looking for the lead. We got Summer's Luck. Now from the second tier that is. We got Quiet too. Back down starting the left. Southwind Sinister. They go through the turn by the 8 points. And they'll make their way down to that side of the opening quarter. And it's the Arts, Royalty, Brown, Sylvie, Farmer, Baby. It's there by about 5. A little wider stretch here, Summer's Luck. In their third, that is the 5 with, and then you got Quietude, and on stride against Southwind Sinister. Opening quarter was hot, 31 seconds.
It's going good.
Victor Cross through the far turn, and Barn Baby looking for win number 5. That'll clip last year's win total of 11 tomorrow. We'll try a good margin over Summer's Luck. We got Wiz, Quietude, and the trail is still Southwind Sinister. Up the front stretch to the half mile, and Kyle Cummings, the birthday boy, drives under the line. 102, even rated quarter to 31. It's turn number 3 to go. This is Barn Baby going away. Still in there, second, Summer's Luck. Getting a little bit closer, third is Wiz, far out angle third of the outside. Then Quietude and Southwind Sinister still the trailer. Make their trot down the back stretch at the 3/4. All chasing Barn Baby. Then you got Summer's Luck on the outside, Wiz. Then you got Quietude. Southwind Sinister 3/4 in. 1:33, so she keeps dialing out those 31-second quarters.
This track record might be in
It's Barn
jeopardy.
Baby on top. Battle for second between Summer's Luck and Wiz. Now a battle for fourth, Quietude, Southwind Sinister. So we got 2 by 2 behind the leader, Barn Baby. She makes her turn for home, and it's all Barn Baby. Barn Baby is in hand, in command. Barn Baby's going to trot home a winner. Battle for second. Looks like it's going to go to Wiz. Time of the mile is 2:05. Wiz will be second. Summer's Luck. Southwind Sinister.
Second off. Well, the winner of the 4th, Barn Baby, and Bob and I, we just had a conversation about Barn Baby before this started the race, owned by Steve Pratt of Corfu and the Purple Haze Stable. It was the Wanda Frediani Connections, the Wanda Policini Connections, and trained by Steve Pratt. Steve has always had quite a few nice horses. Steve's been a veteran trainer. He's been over here for years racing horses. He's had some very, very accomplished trainer. I'm very happy to see the win for Steve today. And this Barn Baby was only a second off the track record, and she did it all on her own. So I think that we're going to be seeing her maybe down in Goshen. She gets another win or two. She'll be qualifying for the Goshen races. Very nice mile. Outstanding. Just an outstanding racehorse.
And again, next Tuesday, we're going to be down in Chemung County, and then Trumansburg, and then Goshen.
Yes.
Our last 3 broadcasts of the season. And
as we get on into these races, you can check all this trainer, driver, horse standings at the at the New York State Sire Stake website. So if you're looking to see which horses are in the top 8 to qualify for Goshen, you can go to their website. There's a full listing of horses, trainers, drivers. If you want to, follow along and checking out who needs more points, who's in contention for the championships. Everything is updated weekly. It's a pretty easy website to navigate. So check that website out if you want to, continue seeing who's in contention for these championships.
Trainer Stephen is white and credit for you. Driven to victory. Hat trick today for the birthday boy title coming. Winner number 5, 14 on the season, which for Barn Baby. Time of 2:05.
What a great picture that is.
Yes, that is a nice looking animal. That's a nice looking animal. It's a nice looking 3-year-old filly. As you can look at it, you're wondering what all the gear is on those horses' legs. That's just for protection. Sometimes when these horses' hoofs get so close together, and they get into, like, some of these tracks are banked a little bit more than others. That's just to protect their legs from bruising if a hoof hits them. Or most of that is just for protection, to keep the horses sound and protected while they're racing. As we look forward to the 6th, we're going to switch gears. Now we're going to head to the 3-year-old Payson fillies. We're going to have a field of 4. And just skimming through this program, I think this race is pretty wide open. These horses are they're very close in times. Some of these horses, matter of fact, every one in this race has started at Hemlock already back on last Tuesday. So they're all going to be repeat starters, and they're used to the facilities. I think this race is going to be very competitive, and I wouldn't be surprised from top to bottom which horse gets to the finish line first. I'm looking forward to see the outcome here in the 6th.
So all of these were here last week?
All these horses raced last week, yeah. We had 2 divisions of the 3-year-old fillies, so that's why there was obviously there's 4 in this race. But if you look in the program, it says 2nd at Hemlock. Then you go down to the One More Try. She was 2nd at Hemlock. Well, the reason for that was very simply there was 2 divisions, so they both finished 2nd in each of their divisions, with the winner not being present in this field. But so I say I think it's a wide open race, and looking forward to seeing this one. It's going to be a competitive one, I do believe.
Funny, we're using wind screens and everything else on our microphones, but the breeze is definitely here and it's changed directions.
Yes, it has.
It's coming from what would be the south right now.
Yeah, and it's if you can feel it, it's actually the temperature has dropped maybe 5-8 degrees since we started. It's very comfortable now.
It's very comfortable.
Yes, it
is. Yeah, you're absolutely right. This is incredibly comfortable.
Actually, it's perfect weather to race these horses, and it's not the extreme heat, or it's not the cold or the rainy time. It's just a perfect day for harness racing.
And I'm going to show you a little secret from old rock and roll radio days. Cold coffee.
Cold coffee.
Yeah, you don't drink hot coffee when you're on the radio or in front of a microphone. Scorch the tongue, it's a bad thing.
It might help me.
Let's see, what's Owens doing up there? I can't, I'm trying to, I'm just going to punch him up. Oh, he's got his camera down. No, I guess I won't.
Oh, Bob, I want to thank you for making a final decision on this, because I'm having a ball today. I really am enjoying myself. This morning I was very nervous. I was worried about the weather. I was worried if we're going to be able to have our camera up in the air. And you're 100% right. You had your weather forecast down exactly the way it turned out. I appreciate you. Appreciate being here today.
Well, in what? I started in 1967. doing outdoor drum corps competitions. Was it 67? Actually, the first one I ever attended was in 1959, the Oil Centennial show called Music in Motion at Carter Field in Titusville, Pennsylvania. And Dave Garroway of the Today Show, for those of you old enough to know who Dave Garroway, that name, it was the first remote broadcast NBC ever did, was from Drakewell Park in Titusville, Pennsylvania. Wow. And it was celebrating the 100th anniversary of the oil industry. That's the reason why I have kind of a trouble with the carbon. I grew up in the oil fields. So, let's see it. Am I interrupting something here?
Well, they're getting ready for the parade to post. They're going to give the parade to post, and they're going to score, and we're going to get ready for the 6th.
3-year-old Billy Baker is on the track race 6. Your account fair first. $3,500 won. This is ideas by Michael Stahl, Gary Grandma. The trainer and driver Kyle Cummings 2 is Rachel Kennedy by Thompson. 4 trainer driver Rachel. 3 is one more inside. Fire and the 4 is look all you want. Tim Warner, Tim Graham, Hector Quartet, 3-year-old Billy Baker for race 6. York County Fair Station will allow $500. No other day with the gates, 2 minutes.
Scoring's complete. These guys are going to make their final turn and come by the grandstand. And we're about a minute and a half, 2 minutes away from the start of the 6th. 3-year-old Payson fillies for $3,500 here at the Hemlock Half Mile today.
And by the way, we keep talking about the Hemlock half mile or mile or half mile track. But this is the Ontario County Fair Canandaigua races today.
Yes,
and we want to be fair to that group that made a valiant attempt to have races.
They did.
And by next year, I'm sure we'll be down there broadcasting live.
I hope we are, because they're a really good bunch of guys out there. They were really interested in this program. I think one more year of getting ready. I definitely think they'll be having harness racing down there. I certainly hope so. With the help from the Breeders' Fund and some of the horsemen over there, I think that their program will get off the ground, and I think they'll be very successful once they do that. It's nice facilities. I mean, it's very nice fairgrounds.
In all the years that I've been around the Rochester area and did a ton of business in Ontario County, because that really is just the most beautiful place, Canandaigua, and the center of the Finger Lakes. But I have to admit, I've never been to the Canandaigua Fair yet.
They've had quite a few renovations over the last couple of years. Their buildings are turning around. They're really looking nice. The grounds, the last time I was down there, I toured it. Were really good. Hopefully, if I get some free time, I'd like to just stop down and visit the fair over this course of the week. They open today and they go through Saturday.
Well, maybe if we can meet up and you want some company, I'll go along with you, because I have to admit, as I say, I've been with the Hemlock Fair for 35 years, and this is the fair I know. And I started in the Crawford County Fair back in Pennsylvania, and which, by the way, where this drive to never say never and make things happen comes is from decades of drum and bugle corps. You will start in Rochester, New York with the Empire Statesmen and the Rochester Crusaders. You'll travel to Hershey, Pennsylvania. And the minute you cross the Pennsylvania border, it's raining. I don't care what day of the week or what week of the summer it is, it's raining down there. Then you get down to Hershey, and it'll be threatening. So you get your corps rehearsed and you get them ready there. And by the way, the buses break down, the trucks break down. You're moving with a major drum and bugle corps, 128 marching members, and probably 50 to 75 staff. And it's a caravan of 19 vehicles traveling overnight to get there, rehearse, and such. And it'll be a day like this where what'd you do, Jeff? Wow. Anyway, sorry about that. Jeff went over and played with the other FM mic.
Looks like the screen's off the track, and these guys are getting formation behind the gate.
Gathered up here for race number 6.
Just warn me next time that the microphone is about to give birth on the air, you know? Because when you've got headphones on like I've got, you know, that'll cross your eyes. But getting back to finish the story as the race begins here, is that it's always going to rain.
All right, now it's going complete. 3-year-old Louis Picture calls to the
There we
gate.
go. About 30 seconds for post.
And you move your trucks, you move your core, you move your people, you move your staff,
Right.
and it'll be what it's going to be.
Field of 4 3-year-old Louis Pictures land behind the gate for race number 6, New York County Fair State. A purse, $3,500. Here, at the top of the stretch, and here they come. What's the ideal on the rail has the lead? Reasonable attitude, get off the turn in second. One more try up in third, and what's all you want to take that to fourth. The lineup is posted this order as they go through the first turn. Go by the 8, go head down the back side. Comfortable with that, so what's ideal? About 2.5, 3, attitude, then you got one more try. You already taken a seat to the outside, and then you got what's all you want. Looking things over from last. Go by the 4. 31 seconds. They got there in time. Melissa's ideal on top by about 2.5, 3. But then you got off the 3 there with the 3. One more try, and they're going to move on the outside. Graceful attitude is now back to third and flank to the outside of that one. Look all you want. Off the front stretch of the half, Melissa's ideal looking for first winner. On top by about 2. And one more try. Battle for third. The latitude. That's all you want to have. 101. Pick it up 30 seconds in that second quarter. This is ideal. Still the one to track down. One more try. Trying to get to her. Again, the battle for third. Look all you want on the outside of Graceful Attitude, who's giving her a little attitude down along the cone. That's the back stretch to 3 quarters, and it's Marissa's ideal. Healy on top here by about 2.5. One more try in there second. Now, Graceful Attitude. After the breaker, look all you want. 132 for 3 quarters. They make their way out the final turn. Marissa's ideal with the lead. One more try, it's one more try to try to pass her. They go by 7-8, so make their turn for the wire.
Here's a race.
Marissa's ideal on the inside. Here comes Huck 3 with one more try. Gonna try it all the way to the wire. One more try, swing up, and gets it done. One more try over Marissa's ideal. A race closing, look all you want, over Graceful Attitude. 2-0-3.
The winner of this one more try. For Kimmy Myers out of Saratoga Springs, owner, trained by Claude Huckabone III. Very nice, very fast last quarter of a mile down the head of the stretch. It was a real nice horse race, and one more try. Got up there just enough to get ahead.
Sorry, I was just checking our audio there.
This is that's what you want at these county fair races. This horse is getting more experience and learn to follow and stalk the front running horse. And when you finish together at the finish line, that's what you love to see when you own, especially when you own one of these horses. You want to see them finish together. It gives them their competitive edge to learn how to go buy another horse. That's why these county fairs are just so It's a necessity for these horses to learn how to race at these county fairs. It helps their foundation of becoming a racehorse.
We're about to learn why we can't get along without Jim Bollertson, our associate executive producer. Your program just blew halfway across the track.
I'm glad it did blow onto the track.
Saratoga Springs, New York. Kip Myers is trained and driven to victory today by Claude Hucklebaum III, which gives him a double today. Second win, 11 on the season for the Bridge. One more try.
I feel like I'm landing aircraft here.
As we're waiting for the winner to get his blanket in the presentation being given out. It's so nice to see the family and people come out to get their picture taken with these horses. It's these county fairs is not, it's business, sure it's business, but it's family. These are all family. These are people that come to watch these races. The kids come to watch their parents.
Well, that's the reason why we discussed it years ago when we decided to try to do racing at the fair level, is that this is the foundation. This is where it begins.
It's right, Bob, exactly. And it's like an this is part of agriculture. And then as you look at these farms, it's a family that the family's raised on the farm. It's generations and generations of people that take the farming business over. It's the same with these horses. Now this Claude Hucklebaum III, there's three of them. They're still participating. Grandfather, the father, and now the grandson. The same with the Cummings. It's a great family of people that are in the horse business. So like I say, they talk about the horse racing. Yeah, horse racing is a big part of agriculture. They have some of the same traditions. It's family oriented.
Well, as I'm sure is the case with the Ontario County Fair, Hemlock Fair started in 1857, and basically it was put together by area farmers and people that wanted to show off their horses. And from that, racing became a part. That's the reason the investment in these, like the half-mile track here, or what Canandaigua and Ontario County is attempting to do to reestablish their horse racing track down there. And what more can you say?
Exactly. You visit any of these county fairs, there either was a half-mile track or they're still racing horses to this day.
Well, one of the things that we ran into a couple of sponsors that were with us last year out of Ohio in particular, they said, well, that level of racing, it's not drawing audiences, it's not drawing crowds. Well, when we looked at our analytics from our video stream broadcasts, we do as professional a job as we can with the experience level that the people we've got have. Like today is Jeff's first day ever switching a show because Owens wasn't available. Old guys like Jim and I have been around NASCAR and other forms of show business and one thing and another, and so we're used to being out here doing these things. Although I've gotten very old, and when I see myself on camera, and my inability to talk anymore is just amazing.
Just keep smiling. That's all you can do. Just
keep
smiling.
It. And try not to scratch funny in front of the camera. That was always the big thing in drum and bugle corps. You're out in the middle of a football field, and you never know when the news cameras are going to be on you. You're always telling the drummers, "Don't scratch." It's that simple, you know. I know viewers are sitting here going, "What the heck is wrong with this man?" But it's true, you know. Life is life. I mean, that's the way things are. So I've been trying to remember I'm not on radio here, so don't scratch.
Bob, I'm going to bail you out here. We're getting ready to start the seventh. It's
I've made
through
him
your whole
blush,
trotting
friends.
colt.
Look at that. He's blushing. Okay.
Here we go.
And the fair will open the first to $3,400 for one each. Who's JC? Carswell is the owner, trainer, and driver of Brewer. Two is Fly Out Del Forte. Kathleen Pratt along with Andrea Lehman. Hucklebaum III, trainers and
Guys have made their score. They're going up the backstretch. Our cameraman has got the we're focusing on both the 1 and the 2. These are 3-year-old trotters. It's a 2-horse race. I think there's going to be a lot of strategy played in this race to see who wants to get to the front, and I'm sure the last half mile is going to be a horse race. All right, they're up to the gate. This gate should be in motion, and it's almost post time here in the 7th.
Starters off the corner to the gate. It's post time. Race 7. 3-year-old Colt Gelding trotters. A pair will line up the match race. One TJC and Blue Cardwell will face off against Fly Hawk Forte and Club of the Ball in the 3rd. Trotters at the top of the strike. Here they go. And they're off. Fly Hawk Forte is going to cross over TJC is going to track along in second. They make their way to the first turn. Faithful 3-year-old by Pump King. The El Paso Cashmere. It's El Paso. It's the Fly Hawk Forte showing away. TJC, the big going 3-year-old by Chapter 7 on the RC Royal Mare. Alpha Male with it. The 2 of them will drop down to that stretch of the opening quarter. Fly Hawk Forte looking for a second win in a row. As they go by the opening quarter. 37 seconds. To make your way through the far turn, like I said, Fly Hawk Forte looking for a second win in a row. He was actually a judge's scratch from the Hemlock event here last week. So now he gets to make amends here. He's got himself about a 3.5-4 length advantage over TJC. As they'll make their way up the front stretch to the hand. And it's Fly Hawk Forte on top. TJC trying to get closer in second. No hurry here, just the 2 of them. As they have already played 8 time. 112. Just picking up 35 seconds in that second quarter. Fly Hawk Forte will lead in the first 3. TJC hiding time in second. Just trying to get a little bit closer though, so he can count hopefully that final quarter. Roll line 5/8, and now they head down to that stretch to 3/4. Cranston is way down the lead. Fly Hawk Forte, and now TJC wrapping it up from that second spot. Starting to creep up on them. As they go to 3/4, Fly Hawk Forte leading by that 3/4. 147. We put up another 35 second quarter. Fly Hawk Forte is still the 1. TJC from second. Luke Cardwell giving a little love tap with the whip there. As they roll by 7/8, they'll make their turn for the wire. Fly Hawk Forte trying to make every pole win one. TJC trying to reel them in. Fly Hawk the 3rd, and Fly Hawk Forte is going to take it. Wire to wire. TJC will be second. 2.2.
Well, the winner of the 7th, Flying El Forte. It's a 3-year-old colt by Muscles Yankee out of an El Paso Cashmere. Really set fractions his own way. He like I say, he was more of a strategy race. I think Claude Huckabone just wanted to put this horse in front and then cut the fractions as he seen fit and saved enough horse for the end. So my congratulations to the owners of the 2. It'll be Kathleen Pratt and Andrea Lehman, both out of New Woodstock, New York, and that's another win and a trainer win for Claude Huckabone III here today. We'll be getting the official announcement in the time as soon as this horse gets back to the winner's circle.
I'm beginning to feel my age here. I know when we get done with this today, it's going to be nap time. And I think Jeff and I have a business meeting tomorrow evening. It's a dinner meeting that we've got to be to. And I think tomorrow is going to be spent most of the time napping.
What are you going to do when we get on the fair circuit and we're going 3 days a week?
I'm the
No
executive
naps anymore,
producer.
Bob.
I ain't going. It's that simple. Jeff runs the show. Owens will be directing. Caleb will be our high flyer. Caleb might be along with him. And it's you and Paige, or you
Or
and Kelly.
Yeah.
So no.
You're going to miss a lot of fun, and you'll be right with us. You're not going to pass up on going to these things.
The only thing that would pass it up is if I get my what's on my bucket list, my yacht on Lake Ontario.
I tell you what, the way we could have used a yacht over here the week before the fair. We had 4 inches of rain over here, and I'm just surprised this track has held up. Not only get last Tuesday's program in, but to get today's races in too. So I really want to thank all the fair board members that helped me last night. I can say at 3 o'clock, 3:30, we're still back and forth with phone calls. I don't think we actually started working on anything till 5:30, and it was all hands on deck. Everybody pitched in, and we were able to put this program on. I'm very happy to help our folks down in Canandaigua, and always help out when it comes to the harness racing and the New York State Breeders Development Fund. They're a great partner to have.
Well, I can tell you that the Reverend Bishop Owen Shepherd showed up at the house last night up in Hilton, along with Jeff and Caleb, and I think Killen was there too. We're there. Jim Vollertson was working on stuff for us and watching the weather forecast and such like that. And of course, you were busy with the fair, but we knew you were going to show up here. And then there was Kelly on the phone going, "Oh, good, we're going to televise the races. You guys are actually going to be there." And I said, "Well, why not?" I called down, and as I mentioned, Steve Nichols of the Hemlock Fair said, "Yeah, we've got the Ethernet cable. I can run it across the track for you," which is what allows us to go on the air. And of course, there's power down here, and this was where we originated the first broadcast from. So, the whole crew knew what the heck we were doing. Well, anybody that watches this probably goes, "You guys say you know what you're doing?"
Bob, you better give that website out one more time, your email address.
Yeah,
so we get some more comments.
It's bscott at BobScottProductions with an S on the end of productions.com. So bscott at BobScottProductions.com. Would love to see an email from you. And when we did last week's races, it was amazing. We were getting emails. One gentleman out of Michigan, he said, "I can't tell. I got to see my horse run."
Yeah.
And of course, that's one of the reasons why we do it. But also for the fans. These races, admittedly, this is a limited showing today because 2 other fairs.
Right.
And Canandaigua, Ontario County Fair coming into the racing circuit for the first time. But by next year, it'll be worked out.
Oh, yeah.
And we hope to be down there.
So would I. I'd love to see the races
broadcasting.
going on.
And of course, what's the dates for the 2022 Hemlock Fair?
It's always the 3rd Tuesday in July. It's got to probably around, maybe next year be like the 19th. I'm not 100% sure, but it's always our tradition to always be the 3rd Tuesday in July.
Well, and we hope to be back doing that. And our sales team and everybody that works with us, Armin Miele and people like that, will be working, trying to raise the funds to be able to do this. Because if you could see the equipment we've got here, you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, it's a
4-camera shoot,
yeah.
and a whole 9 yards.
I think our screen is making one more lap around. We're going to have the parade to the post here for the 3rd. It'll be 3-year-old colt pacers. going for a purse of $3,500, and we have a field of 4.
And this is the 8th race.
This is the 8th and final. This is the finale today. Yeah. And once again, I wish everybody well done at Ontario County Fair, and I hope they have a very successful fair this week. If anybody gets a chance to stop in, if you go to a county fair and get a little agriculture and get some entertainment.
All I want is
You'll
a free
enjoy
pass
yourself.
into the fairgrounds. I don't need to be on any of the rides or anything like that at my age, but I'd love to come down to see the facility.
Yep.
So there I am looking for a freebie. You know, it's nice at the Hemlock Fair, too. Caleb has 4 kids.
Yeah.
And he and Diana brought the kids down and they gave them ride passes,
Right.
which was so
Yeah.
nice.
We love seeing the kids. That's what it's all about. When the kids are running around having fun, you know, at the end of the day, it's much work you put into putting a fair on. If they're down there looking at animals or they're squealing about a ride, then you know you did it. You did your job. Kids are happy. That's the future. You know, get a little bit away from their cell phones and their whatever else the media did.
Well,
Get away and check out some agriculture just for an hour or two. It's
Earlier, I
great.
told you about the 11-year-old that was serving breakfast at Ronnie Brisbane, our one camera guy, picked me up and we were up in the ag building. I love that sound.
Good.
But
Young Baker finished off the third race, New York County Fair, Sire State, going a mile and $3,500. One is first and surreal. Dennis Beaverone, Jim McKnight Jr. does the drive. 2 is American Expression, owned by trainer Jim Graham, along with that parent, called Candlemaker, and the winner, that's Dennis Terry. 3 is Heaven Superstar, owned by Katie Taggart, along with Dominic Longobardi. Canandaigua trains and drives, and the 4 Brady Element. Go where the money is, Sable, plus the ball, the 3rd trains and drives. Next to Quartet, a 3-year-old Sheldon Baker. New York County Fair, Sire State, going a mile the first, $3,500. There's no change in race 8, but we're going to
Okay. Well, that's the final score here tonight for the 8th race. These horses are momentarily going to make their way up the backstretch, and it's going to be the finale here in Hemlock Fairgrounds. But these are the Ontario County Fair Sire Stake races that we've had a privilege to bring to you today. You can see our cameraman Caleb still on his job. He's got focused on the 1 right now. The rest of the field will be catching up to him. He'll be getting into position, and it's going to be I think this would probably be the fastest race of the day. These 3-year-old colts look like they're going to be very competitive. The track has held up considerably well, so
I hope Caleb never figures out how important he is, because he's going to ask for a raise. We call him the high flyer.
making his call to the 3-year-old Sheldon Baker for the 8th and final. Field is in motion. Field of 4, 3-year-old Sheldon Baker's at the top of the track, and here they come.
3 didn't start.
American Expression now on the inside versus for real, looking right in the eye early. And you got Heaven Superstar and the early trailer, Brady, Element, make the way to the first turn. Versus for real, he stepped on the gas and he's gonna pocket set American Expression. Heaven Superstar gets up in there 3rd, and then Brady Element gets back and forth about 6 lengths off the 3rd place forward. As they go down the back stretch, the opening quarter, versus for real. Jim McKnight Jr. playing a little hardball late afternoon. Opening quarter, 31 seconds as they head to the far turn. Carson Thrill is the 1 to 10, a length and a half on top. Now Denny Sterry rocking and rolling. American Expression top the news to go after this leader early. So the gloves are dropped at 3-8.
It's a horse race now, boys.
Then they go by 3-8, they come to the half mile, and then the green channel rolls with Parsons for real. Puts American Expression back in the pocket. Having Superstar, now Brave Element gets Brave in that fourth spot. That's going to flush out Having Superstar the half. 103. They head through that third turn, Parsons for real. Now he's going to deal with Having Superstar. First up on the outside for Shane Taylor. American Expression going on the inside. And Brave Element going a length and a half off of this pack. As they roll by 5-8 and down to that.
That's a horse race there.
Carson's for real. Having Superstar up on the outside, looking to look him in the eye and trying to go by. They go to 3/4. It's Carson's for real. Having Superstar. 133. Nose for nose, tail for tail, wheel to wheel. They go for the final turn. Carson's for real on the inside. Taylor trying to keep Having Superstar in there. And then you got American Expression with work to do and break all the trails. They come off the turn, they turn for home. Carson's for real. He's chugging on the dog. He's trying to take it all away. Having Superstar trying to get to him. Jimmy Knight Jr. and Carson's for real. Take it all away. Having Superstar right for third. Time to run. 2:02 flat.
Last half at 59 seconds on this county fair track. That was quite a race, boy. Carson's for real. There wasn't every horse in the field took a shot at him. They tried him at the after the quarter. They tried him at the half, up the backstretch. It was not going to be denied today. That was so surreal cold for owners of Dennis Robert Beaver. Trained by Kurt Desmond and driven today by Jimmy McKnight Jr. What an exciting race that was. I want to watch that one again.
Well, you'll be able to do that because the FairRacingNetwork.com archives these races in the order that they appear. The latest one will always be on top, or the one we're doing is always on top. But you can go all the way back, I believe, to Palmyra in 2019. The Goshen races are still up. And then, of course, the Hemlock races from last week, and now the Canandaigua, Ontario County races.
Back in the winner's circle, back half is 59, the final quarter is 29, the time is 2:02. Only 4/5 of a second off the track record here today.
Yeah.
4/10 of a second.
Off the track record, yeah.
Wow.
Born in Randolph, New York, trained by Kurt Desmond, Jim McKnight Jr. with the drive.
Wow, listen to that sound.
They're tired.
That's amazing.
Here today in a time of 2:02. The one, Carson, real.
You know, today we finished with quite a horse race. That was an exciting race. Well, Bob, I want to appreciate getting the crew together and putting this on so the people that couldn't get out to Ontario County, maybe they were able to catch some action today.
And hopefully next year their track and everything will be in position, will be down there. Again, our next broadcast is from Chemung County, Horseheads, New York.
Yes.
Elmira Horseheads, Elmira Heights,
Right, next
Pine
Tuesday.
City.
Yeah, next Tuesday, and it's at post times 12 noon.
So we're going to be leaving at about 6 o'clock in the morning and getting down here. Yeah. Let's turn the camera on Caleb and see if he's going to jump or fall out of the... That's Caleb Santiago. He's our top cameraman. Can you imagine being up in the air that far and putting up with that? Oh, Jim's losing it. But that's the guy that gets all these great shots.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. Now he's trying to figure out how to bring it down.
This looks like a repeat of Goshen to me. The only thing is, it's about 30 degrees cooler.
and it's about 2 hours shorter. That was a long broadcast. Poor guy'd been up there for like 5.5 hours.
There he goes.
Unbelievable. So it is.
There he goes.
Let's see if we can.
He's coming down. There we go.
It's working. Good. Oh, he operates his own controls now.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, that's a nice rig Hemlock furnished for us. We thank them very much.
It's going back, I think, tomorrow. We rent that for the month of July.
Aha. Nice piece of equipment. Well, again, we are at Chemung County next Tuesday. We'll be leaving at about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, getting down there, attempting to get everything wired. I think I'm finally beaten into the heads of the guys to pack stuff so that it's not so frustrating setting up. You have to call down and see if they can do Ethernet for us. If they can't,
I'll make sure the connections. I'll make sure they're ready for us.
Excellent. And I don't know whether Jim's going to go down there with us or not. Yeah, I think we've hooked our assistant executive producer.
Tell you what, he makes things very comfortable when there's a problem, like there's something going on.
Well, it's that extra set of hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't do it without him.
Then there's what? Where did Kalen go? He's
not sure.
No, he just. Oh, he's walking back up to help with Caleb. It's Kalen and Caleb, right?
It's Conrad.
Conrad. Oh my gosh, he's new to us.
Are we ready to sign out, Bob?
I think we're in good shape here. We thank, of course, our primary benefactor and the Queen of the Geezer Group, or not
Young.
The Queen. I'm sorry, the goddess of the.
Kelly Young, the executive director for the New York State Hunter Horse Breeders Association and part of New York State Ag. She's been amazing. She's been an amazing partner helping us try to launch this program. Couldn't do things without her.
And to sign off, here's what they're all about.
Ready for the start. Here they come. They're off.
But it's all Chimpanzee in front at 156-2. She's undefeated. Take a look at this good-looking 2-year-old New York bred Hypnotic AM. They breed him the best in New York, and Hypnotic AM wins it.